So the public prosecution has accused the detained activists of several charges that don't resemble recognizable crimes. Some of them are participating in protests, incitement to protest, chanting slogans hostile to the kingdom, even filming protests and publishing them on social media, and providing moral support to rioters. These are all vague catch-all charges that have been used before and are being used now to crush dissent completely. And so the public prosecution has called for their execution based on these charges.
And can you just contextualise for us the demand for a death sentence? Is this normal for non-violent acts?
Unfortunately, it is. It has become all the more common for Shia activists and protesters as well. In 2014 and 2016, 8 and 14 activists, respectively, were sentenced to death in grossly unfair trials for their roles in the same mass demonstrations that Isra has been arrested for. What is unprecedented in this trial is that if sentenced, Isra would be the first woman to face the death penalty for her activism. What is egregious about it is that none of the activists are being accused of committing violent acts or even incitement to violence. And this just goes to show how far the Saudi leadership is willing to go to crush any and all forms of dissent.
Okay, now this sets a very dangerous precedent, doesn't it?
Absolutely. For other women activists in Saudi Arabia, there's been a serious and unrelenting crackdown on women's rights activists in Saudi Arabia since May. And they've arrested, rounded up, targeted, even placed others under travel ban of women's rights activists who have called for equality and the emancipation of Saudi women. And so we fear that in upcoming trials, and many of them are still detained without charge, that they may face similar unfair trials mired with violations of a fair trial and due process.